I'm trying really hard to think about what to do in 5 minutes, and I think what I'm going to do is try and encapsulate, if I could, what this means to me personally, and maybe what it means to you, because all of this is fantastic. And I promise you, all of this is part of what I do too, which is remarkable when I think about, that I'm supposed to be in charge of all of this, and it's just mind-blowing, We just had an economist actually spend a long time reviewing the financial situation of our company globally. I wanted a clear picture of where we're at, because it's so difficult. Can you imagine all the currencies and the economic impacts that are going on constantly? Where are we? And to get that number or that position is very difficult. So we hired someone to do that for us, and we just had the report before we came here. It's about a 70-page report, and it was just unbelievably interesting. I was fascinated by it. We're not as profitable as we need to be, let's be honest. Average profitability in our industry for a company our size is about 8%. Last year we were 2%. So we're not in that where we need to be. And I'm not overly concerned about that, because we know the problem, we can fix it. And it's interesting talking about free shipping. You know what the number one cost that we experienced last year? The cost of shipping. $28 million we spent last year in the last mile shipping. So you think about $28 million, how many packages that is that the company's paying for you to send to your customers. So that's going to be a relationship we're going to talk about in the next few months, about how to address that, what that looks like. We talked about underperforming markets, places in the world, you all know them, places in the world where we're doing business and we shouldn't be. We talked about underperforming products that none of you use, and still we continue to produce them. And none of this is rocket science. And when I look at the bill for this economist, I'm like, shit, what do we do? And another thing that we looked at was, which was really intriguing, was the cost of our marketing plan. We have officially the most expensive marketing plan in the industry. And we're really proud of that. It's like, hell yeah. We're at 48.7% of our top line revenue that comes in goes straight back out in bonuses. The next company to us on the list was 37%. So we're 11.7% higher than any other company that matters in the industry. I don't know the private ones because I don't see the numbers. So you can know that we have the most generous marketing plan in the industry compared to our peers. Now there might be some other small company that says, hey, yeah, maybe a travel company or something stupid like that. But the bottom line is that the marketing plan is extremely, extremely generous, and we love it. So don't worry about it. We could go out and maybe get a footballer and put our name on his T-shirt or something, but that would mean that 47% became 37%. But where would you want the money? Yeah, exactly, of course. Yeah, you're welcome. And we didn't design this. Rex and Greg designed this a long time ago. And then we come to this brand new opportunity. And this is really personal for me. This is where my wife is from. Yeah. My children were born in Solihull. And can you imagine just the impact of me walking through Touchwood and coming into Forever's office? Yeah. It's really, really emotional. I get emotional. I'm thinking about it. And I'm pissed because she's not here. Yeah. And that really bugs me. And I'm going to tell you about that in a minute, which will make me emotional again. Someone said, who was it said to me, the bowling? Oh, no. Oh, it was you, yeah. You're whinging already. She was recognized as #1 in Ireland yesterday, and she hasn't stopped crying. And so... And I wish, honestly, and I'm teasing Michael, but I wish I had so much more time to explain all of these things, what's going on around the world. We are seeing a revolution in Forever right now, a momentum change, a momentum shift that is just remarkable. We were, a couple of years ago, we were down about 9% globally. Right after COVID, and everyone came out, and we were in that really horrible, sticky, time. Last year we grew 5% globally. This year we're up 12% already this year globally. So this complete shift in momentum, those who are in India felt it, and I get to feel it globally constantly, and it is incredible, apart from 3 places. There's literally 3 places that are on our watch list right now. Guess what? UK and Scandinavia and Malaysia. They're the 3 markets that haven't responded yet. And I say yet with complete confidence.
Yeah.
Like, why wouldn't it be? You know, like, there's no difference between you and Japan. And there's a lot of differences, but Japan grew by 12% last year.
Mm-hmm.
You know, South Africa grew by 200%. Ivory Coast grew by 38%. The whole of Africa grew by 24%. Is there something in Africa that isn't here? No. It's just a matter of time, and it's a matter of a little bit of what, you know, Mike was talking about a lot here, is you have to get back in the game. Mm-hmm. And one of the questions I want to ask you before I close is really look about how much you're putting into it. And many years ago, we had a presentation, a country manager meeting presentation, and I think it was in Brazil. And we had Fernando speak and Ulf speak. Ulf was in charge of the Scandinavia. Fernando was in charge of Brazil. Both of them spoke completely independent of each other, and both of them said, I've got a subject I want to talk about. And we didn't control the topic at all. And we asked them, hey, how do you build sales? How do you build momentum? That was what it is. Both of them presented activity as the number 1 reason for growth. So I'd ask you to audit your activity. Actually look at what you're doing and seeing how that impacts it. We have time 15%. Is that what it?
Minutes.
Why didn't you just say that?
I didn't want to interrupt you.
No, that's fine, man. Sorry, I'm just kidding. We're all friends around here, man. We're all friends. We have. I'm just kidding. I couldn't resist that. It was like in Germany the other day. My wife called me, FaceTimed me. And so I answered the phone. She said, hey, babe, how's it going? Did you pay the bills? And I opened it up like this. And it's like 150 people. I said, sorry, babe, what was it? But anyway, where was I? Oh, activity. And that's where it lies. Honestly, it really lies. And when you audit the actual amount of time you're putting into it. Because if I'm honest with you, and we've all been around together, and I know most of you for all of my forever life, we don't do enough. And when we do more than we think is enough, we get the results. And it really boils down to that. I wish I could be more friendly and say it in a more articulate way. But when you actually look, like when I think about a working week in my life, it's probably between, I don't know, really a bad week could be 15 hours in a row or something. No, I'm just kidding. We probably work somewhere between 40 and 50 hours a week is what my corporate job requires of me. And when we travel, it's 24 hours basically. Very often we'll sleep on a plane. Like I leave Wednesday night here at 10 o'clock. I land in Brazil 5 in the morning. We go straight to the office. I don't say that to impress you. I say it to impress upon you.
Yeah.
The idea of what a full-time job looks like. Now, with all due respect and with a heart filled with love, a lot of you don't do that. And if you expect full-time results. And that's where the answer lies. It really does, and it lies in doing harder things more often. And I there's 1,000 things I want to say about that. But ultimately, I want to say thank you. Really, I want you to know that this really is a culmination of a dream for me to be stood here. And this is exactly what I envisaged when I thought about 2.0. And I went to two dear friends of mine. One's called Wolfgang, which is just a great human name. And he is a financial billionaire, literally. He made a bunch of money in fintech, financial technologies. And we have lunch about once every 6 weeks. And it's like a mentorship where he shouts at me for about an hour. And another guy that comes is our banker. Sam knows him really well. We call him Uncle Brian. He's Brian Friedman is a dear friend. He's a banker. And I went to him and I said, hey, you guys know they put me in charge of forever. And after they stopped laughing, I said, what are we going to do? And we strategized about this. And one of the big strategies is we have to find something to fight for, something to focus on. And that's where we came up with the GROWTH acronym. And I'd love to go through that with you, but time doesn't allow. But I think you all know it. Really look at that, because those are the skills, talents, and attributes that are evident in successful people. Literally, one of the things, I'm a real journal keeper, and I have journals that go way back. And when I review those journals, every one of these meetings, I will take a photograph, which I did, and I will write about my feelings in that meeting. I reviewed those feelings. looked at what successful organizations did, and we came up with grit, represent, organized, work together, and happy. Those are the qualities that make up success. And so when we were in this meeting, we decided that we were going to focus on this growth and sort of mentality and stuff like that. And that really became the genesis of this dream. And part of that dream that was in that was convenience. Convenience is vital in the world today because we're all so busy and we're overcome with so many distractions. And so we had this vision of placing offices like this, which were convenient. Now, if you think the manor was special to you, think about to me. That was the very first Forever meeting I ever had, was on a plastic chair in that place with Dusty. You think it's special to me? I raised my family there. And so when we said we're selling it, that was a very tearful 24 hours. And I am married to someone who loves that building. And I don't think she's truly forgiven me yet. And so it was deeply meaningful for us. But this is what I envisaged. I envisaged you calling somebody and saying, hey, we'll pop over to Touchwood, get something, which was the mall right here. We'll grab a quick sandwich and we'll pop in, have a sit down at the office, completely convenient. The train station's a couple minutes down the road. The airport's 20 minutes over there. There's a nice hotel right here. It's free in and out constantly. We have access to this and security all the time. You've got somewhere to park your car. This is what I envisaged. And this light and free and open environment where people from all walks of life, background and ages just feel comfortable. Now, I love the manor, but it was a museum. And it was a museum of success that's no longer ours. It's like walking into Liverpool's trophy room, which is remarkable. And really, I go within 100 feet of, and I'll cry now, 100 feet of Anfield. And it's my life. I was born in Liverpool. But I don't want to see trophies that say 1996 on them. I want to see trophies that say 2025, 26, and 27. I don't want a list of who was an Eagle manager in 2007. I want to see your names in 2025. This is what it's about. Was it an easy decision? No. But it was the right decision. I'm flipping all in on it right now. When I got out of bed this morning, got dressed and walked up the road, I'm here. That's the convenience we've just... Brilliant. And I want to say really thank you to Michael and the team here for getting it ready so quick, because we gave them a very tight deadline and it looks brilliant. So, I'd love to open it for questions. Maybe later on, if we have a little bit more time, we'll open it to the group for some questions. And I'm here all day. I'm not coming out with you guys tonight though. I'm going to Grandma's house. Laura's mum lives just down the road, so we'll be sitting on our couch later eating, baked tart or something, a cup of tea. But anyway, if I want to encapsulate the feeling of a successful FBO, if I could, I feel so emotional today, and forgive me because I ugly cry really bad. It's like this cacophony of emotion that's flying around, Even sit down with Jane, we did the podcast this morning, and she mentioned elephants, and I had visions of when she was trying to build that safari truck, do you remember? And it was always cocked up, and it was in the wrong city, in the wrong place, and everything it was like this whole crashing of emotions when we talked about it. But so the other day, we're skiing, and we love to ski. And the whole family was there except Sam. I did invite him, I did offer to pay. And he's on the family shit list right now because he didn't show up. He said something about school or something, he had any classes to go to, which is ridiculous. His priorities are screwed up. So I was skiing with the whole family, and my 7-year-old was with me. And yes, I have a 7-year-old. Don't judge me for that. I don't know, I took that sleeping pill, woke up, and it was all over. I don't know what happened. And anyway, he had an accident, and he had a bad accident. He hit a tree, and he collapsed immediately, and you could tell, when your child fell and it's not quite right. Well, it was bad. And there's a purpose for me telling you this story, and hopefully it encapsulates what it means to be part of Forever. And unfortunately, I was in front of him, and so as you know, when you ski and you're on the mountain like this, you can't go up. So I had to go to the ski lift, get on the ski lift, go all the way back, and come all the way around. By the time I got there, our third son was there with him, And he's a paramedic, so that helped out a lot. And he grabbed hold of me on the way and he said, and Finn is screaming, you know. And he said, Dad, it's a broken femur or a dislocated hip. And I was like, you're freaking kidding me. You know, and then I thought about the fact that I spent all this money on a ski holiday and it was snowing and I was going to miss a great day of powder tomorrow. That's not true. And my first thought was, how the hell do I tell his mom? Who can I blame? Because he's going to kill me. So anyway, Finn's lying there and the ski patrol came and we had this really sort of awkward moment where we had to lift him and I was on the cart, you know, and then they placed him on top of me, which was kind of symbolic, you know, in a way. We went down this mountain and we got there and we determined that he was needed to go to hospital and quick. So we got the ambulance and went through the ordeal of that. Now here's where the story really comes alive, because we arrived at the medical center, the hospital, and the second we arrived, we were surrounded by brilliant people. The lady that checked me in, that takes your money, she was fantastic. The doctor, not the doctor, the triage nurse starts to deal with Finn and starts the process. And everything clicked into place, and it was very traumatic. I'm going to say Laura's bawling her eyes out. It's all her, you know what mom's like, this is my fault, and, you know, and I'm trying to hold it together, very failing wickedly. Finn's in immense discomfort. And they're trying to do an IV and they can't find the IV, and all this is going on at the same time as this guy's in my ear saying, you got to prep yourself for a broken femur. If it's a femur, the helicopter's coming, we're going to fly him to Salt Lake. Excuse me. And that thought was just horrendous. That we'd be in a medevac hotel with my 7-year-old helicopter and a 7-year-old looking at, you know, probably 6 weeks in traction and all this sort of stuff. Anyway, all this cacophony is going on around me. And the lady comes in that does the picture, the photograph, you know, the x-ray. And she checks the lower part of the leg, which we knew was intact. And then they're all talking about this femur. And she takes a picture and she's this 21-year-old girl. And they're not allowed to tell you, you know, it's very strict in America because of the finances of it and the legal position, and she could see how distraught we were, and she grabbed my hand, and this is like a 21-year-old girl, and she whispered, "It's negative on the femur." Oh. She whispered in my ear. Now, in that moment, everything changed. Just like that, I was like, okay, great, and we celebrated a dislocated hip. You know, and then we started the process, and it wasn't pleasant. I don't know if you've ever seen them put a hip back in. You never want to see anyone, never mind your 7-year-old, go through that. Now, here's the point. Why did I tell that story? Because I want you to remember that emotion. Is because that is what being a sponsor is. If you're going to be successful in Forever, you are the emergency room. Because people typically come to you broken. Not always, don't get me wrong, not always. But they come to you with a problem that needs fixing. And they come to you and they say, help me. In whatever way they say it. They come and say, help me, I have a medical situation, I have an energy situation, whatever it might be, I have a financial situation, I have a situation. And then we offer initially the help. And here's what happens. Too often we let them down. 51% of the people that come into our business never buy again. Is that because the product sucks? The price is wrong? Probably not. Some will be. Most of it is that we fail because we're not putting enough activity in. Now, I want you to remember that message because I wanted to share that in that way because it is so important that you understand your responsibility when you connect people to Forever. You open a window to them, which is remarkable. Don't let them down. And if you don't let them down, you do the difficult things, you do the difficult follow-up phone calls, you resolve the concerns when they raise them. And that is how you will be successful. That's how it will build here. Because Forever 2.0 is not about stuff. It's not about things. It's about the community of Forever. Because the number one sickness in the world today, loneliness. And if you really want to build something strong, you develop a community that people want to be part of. Now, does it work? Hanami, number one FBO in the world, her whole business is about community. She did 65,000 cases last year. She qualifies for the GLT monthly almost. Now, so if you think, Aiden, that's too fuzzy. You know, I'm a businessman, a woman, I'm tough and all that, and stiff upper lip and all that. Today's world, that's not what people are looking for, I'm afraid. That's my observation. The fastest growing business in the world today is a girl in Japan. You don't even know her. Her name's Dana. She did 12,500 cases last year. She didn't even know. She has a online yoga community. Now you might say, hey, I don't have a community. You don't have a community yet. And also, you can find somebody. Every one of you knows somebody that has a community. And that community they bolt forever onto. Just like we were talking about, is how we used to do it in the old days. It wasn't about sponsoring people and moving through the system. That's important when done right. But it was about building a forever community that people come on board. And that's why you guys are still here. That's why Diana's still here. That's why Chris is still here. It's the community. It's the friendship. That's why Luis and Ashley are here. How long have you guys been involved?
20 years.
And it's been wonderful 30 years. Never a problem, right? Right? The business has been like that the whole time.
It's been a piece of cake.
Yeah. Every thought's a star.
Never shed a tear.
Yeah, never.
Never had a tantrum.
Never. Yes, you have. No,
I
he's
know.
doing that.
That's why I said
But
that.
you get my feeling, right? And this is not just in the UK, it's everywhere I go. Everywhere I go, people come up to me and say, I'm still here. It's because of the community that was created. Now, if you guys want to be successful, follow Rex's example. This whole thing was his community. The whole World Rally experience, what was it about? He wanted to show you things that he likes. That's what it was all about. Now, how you do that is you do the things you say you were going to do. It's not hard to build that community and manage it. So we have the wellness side, which is our great product, and it is a fantastic product. And to be honest with you, it's getting better. The presentation of the new aloe vera gel and all of its formulas is phenomenal. And we are working on the Freedom too. We may actually go to a powder Freedom we're looking at that you mix with aloe as a way to keep it more stable and move around the world a little bit more effectively. We're looking at new sources of Arctic Sea, which is kind of weird to say Arctic Sea, but fish oil. We're looking for sustainable sources of fish oil and plant-based, which is proving to be amazing results right now. The EPA and DHA levels are higher in this plant-based algae than it is with fish oil. And that's a big drive right now. You see the power of vitamin D currently. Just get online and look at how vitamin D is changing the world, or their understanding of it now. We're in the cusp of this wellness revolution we've never seen before. We were talking this morning about we used to have to push health on people. Now they pull it. So you stand up, become expert on what you sell, on what we have available to you. So we have the wellness pillar in what we do. The community pillar is where we're going to do a ton of work. We're going to do a ton of work and make it forever just a brilliant place to be, a happy place to be. This building feels happy. It feels lighter. It has a positive energy to it. And that's vitally important. Now, I love the manor, but driving up to the manor, I felt like the butler was going to open the door, come out, and take me off my horse-drawn car. That's not quite where Forever's going, right? Now, and the other pillar that we focus on a lot is finance. And what I mean by finance, a little bit more, is order. You got to have goals. You got to have expectations. You got to have a financial plan which is sustainable. And that's another part, and that includes the business too. And what we're doing globally is getting Forever onto the most powerful financial setting that is possible. That's our focus: wellness, community, finance, and that's the focus is going to underpin and uphold growth as what will make Forever go forward into the future. I appreciate you. And I hope that you know how much I love you. It is a genuine, just you injected into my veins. You know, like talking to you today. That's what I'll talk to Laura about tonight, and probably her mum. You know, is just that, you know, your success, and it's just wonderful to us. And I want to close with one other story because he's here. My little boy. He's one of our twins, and all of you that know that they were born forever babies. It's because of Alamir that we ended up with those two. You know? Like, no one ever warned me that multiple births was a thing. And then when Jack came out, Sam was followed right after him. I thought, shit, what happened here? Anyway, my point is, and Sam, I hope you don't mind me sharing this. Sam's diabetic. He's a type 1 diabetic, and I want to tell you about just one sentence in that whole process. Can you imagine finding out your kids? And we were in France, and we were on holiday in France, and it was me and the 3 boys, or 2 boys, and we were just going around France having fun. And Sam was starting to get sicker and sicker and sicker and forgetting stuff, and it affected his cognitive capacity, and we were really patient with him. Didn't tease him at all, didn't laugh at him, didn't wake him up in the middle of the night and just make jokes about him. So anyway, it turns out he was legit sick. And we get back to America, and they do all the tests and all that. And do you remember Dr. Holland? This weird-looking gnome. He looked like a gnome, didn't he? He was short, fat, and he had these big braces and this big beard. And he walks in the room like this, and he says, well, Sam, you're a diabetic. And just, can you imagine those words, you know? And he was a star athlete, and in my mind, I just had this tragedy of thought just filled my mind, and Laura was melting in the chair next to me. And then he said this. He said, I don't know if I'm sure you remember. He said, but everything is going to be okay. That sentence changed the trajectory of our lives in such a way that I can't even... all of a sudden, what was the darkest moment in parenthood became an opportunity. This is what I'm here to tell you, is everything is going to be all right. Because we've proven it over and over again around the world. And that's what, if you're saying to that person that comes to you broken, hey, look, everything is going to be all right. It is amazing the power of optimism. You can change the trajectory of the world just being optimistic. People complain to me about politics. We were just in Scandinavia, no, Germany, I can't remember. Where was it when they were saying, hey, what are you guys going to do about the fact that they're boycotting American products? What? Nothing. They're not even American products, I'm honest with you. They're bottled in Romania. And I know that some of you might get distracted by that, but it won't impact us in any way. 98% of the population are not interested in your products. Let's be honest, 98% of the people are not interested in what you do. But freaking hey, sure as hell, give me 2%. And if you want to know how many people are that, 0.04% of the population are teachers. You got 2% to work with. If I said to you, you have every teacher in England to work with, you'd be happy. That's 0.04% of the population. What about retail? Everyone works in retail. That mall is full of people. 4% of the population are engaged in retail. You would think it was 10 times the amount of people who want to get involved in this. We're about 2% globally that are interested in opportunity. What does that mean? 98% of the people is noise. It's distraction. Do not get distracted, because you'll lose focus on the 2% that truly matter. Do you get that? Yeah. You got to kiss a lot of princes and a lot of frogs. That's just the way the business goes. I hope that was helpful. I hope that you understand how much this means to us and how much confidence we have in you and your ability to make a difference here. Forgive my emotion today. It's an unusual day. This is kind of like a cacophony of emotion for me. But remember, everything is going to be okay. And that was such a powerful moment. You remember Sarah, and he worked out all right. He went on and he's achieving fantastic things in his life. And I had no hope of that. You are a diabetic. No hope. Followed with ultimate, life-changing hope. Everything's going to be okay. Thank you very much. And let's go eat some food.